I started crocheting when I was in grad school. Do I look like I have a neck brace on? Hi, welcome to my first YouTube video. If you don't know me, I'm Alicia. I'm a fiber artist. So I first started crocheting when I was in grad school, and at the time I was doing an unpaid internship and I was looking for a way to pay off my student loans, and so I launched my Etsy and now we're here. This making videos and talking thing is definitely something that's out of my comfort zone. I'm very shy, but we are going to give it a shot and see how it goes. So let's get into it. Okay, so I know it's already February, but I figured a good way to start this channel would be to talk about my 2025 goals for my small business. I posted this small business bingo card back to my Instagram in early January. I feel like I'm a real visual person, so for me, having just like a list of something isn't always enough to like keep me on track. So having something like this where I can go in and like actually check things off, I find is super helpful for keeping me like aligned and motivated. I am hoping also to make this sort of like a series. I think it'll be nice to like go back to these videos at the end of the year and see what goals I hit, what goals I didn't hit, and then where I can progress for 2026. So let's get into it. Okay, starting off strong, my first goal of the year is to hit 10K on Instagram. This is a bit of a reach, I'll admit. At the time of posting this, I think I have like less than 500 followers. So is this achievable? Probably not, but hey, we aim big here. Alrighty, the next goal I have for 2025 is to attend a craft fair. I left this one kind of intentionally vague. In my heart, would love to have a booth at a craft fair. In my head, the thought of people like perceiving me in like public and like seeing me and like putting a face to my work kind of makes me nauseous. Especially like my biggest fear is like someone from like high school or work like seeing these videos or like seeing me at a craft fair or just like perceiving me. I don't know why. If I saw someone I knew selling their art, I'd be like, holy shit, like you're so cool. But something about like the fact that it's me being the one that's like perceived, I don't know, it just makes me feel ill. So if I decide to be brave this year, the goal would be to have my own booth. But if that doesn't end up shaking out, I at the very least want to start attending more craft fairs as like a buyer, just to get a pulse on like what other folks in my area like to purchase, what sort of setups people are doing, and hopefully, you know, to connect with like some other local small businesses. The next goal I have is to create a new product line. I feel like over the last few years, there's been a handful of products here and there in my shop that have like really taken off. The first was my Crab Rangoon keychains. The second was my Crab Rangoon plushies. And right now it's my Sunny Angel charms. And my issue is I feel like I've fallen into like a bit of a cycle where there's 2 or 3 things that start selling really, really well. And so I promote those items, but then I don't really promote anything else. So I think this year I'd like to be more intentional, A, about adding new products to my shop, but also B, making sure that I'm varying my marketing so that everything has a fair shot of being purchased. Okay, the next goal is to create 2 new patterns this year. I have a handful of patterns on my shop. My patterns actually used to be one of like the best sellers, especially my Faye tote bag and my Abba bucket hat. But like I mentioned before, when I have a ton of people buying like 1 or 2 specific items in my shop, I kind of like neglect everything else. So I still have those patterns up, but I really haven't added more just because like the physical items have been like so popular, especially this last year. But yeah, I'm hoping at least 2 patterns for this year. Okay, the next goal on my list is to start a newsletter. I feel like newsletters are a really underrated way of developing a community, especially as a small business owner. I think they're a really great way to retain clients and get repeat buyers, and also just sort of like letting folks know what you're up to. And I do have some brainstorms for this, so hopefully this is something that I'll get up and running soon. So sort of in the same vein, my next goal is to build up my blog this year. I used to really love writing. I was gonna be an English major in college, and I've been trying to get back into it a bit more lately. And I've been using my blog to sort of like work those muscles again. But I also think it's a really great way to like share my limited knowledge as a small business owner for other folks to see and sort of emulate as well. And I'm hoping it can be a place where like we can build community and knowledge share and just have it be really informational and useful for all of you. And yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes in 2025. Okay, my next goal is to join a small business group. I personally don't know anyone else in my personal life who like has a 9-to-5 and also runs their own small business. And I don't know, I love having my own small business. I love what I do, but it can be isolating at times. So I'd love to have a community of like other small business owners who like also understand the struggle of like balancing a 9-to-5 and a small business, and hopefully we can have like a community together and just be like a support system to one another. I'm really excited because Monica, who runs Monica's Collective here on YouTube, she recently released a sign-up sheet for her DIY CEO club, which I think officially launches this year. She has been like such an inspiration for me, especially this past year. So I'm really excited to join her club and connect with some other small business owners. My next goal is to do a holiday launch. This, I foresee being an issue for me. I feel like I have a bunch of ideas for holiday products, but then one of two things usually happens. The first is I just like don't give myself enough time. Ideally, if you're gonna do a product launch for a holiday, you should be like planning and have it like well developed the quarter before. And I have a bad habit of coming up with holiday products like the month of the holiday and then posting it like early in the month, which like at that point, most people have probably already done their shopping for that holiday, and then they just like sort of sit on my Etsy and no one really buys them. The second thing I've found, and I'm curious if this is a thing for like other small business owners or if it's mainly just like my little like niche of products, but I do find like even in the cases where like I do plan ahead and I make this great product for the holidays and I put it out the quarter before and I advertise it, I don't know, I feel like they don't sell as well as like my normal products. I'm guessing it's because like a lot of my other products you can have out like sort of year round, and these ones are like obviously seasonal specific, so it's kind of a lot of money sometimes to put towards something you can only have out a couple times a year. But I think I am going to give it another shot this year. And I'm thinking maybe to try and make some products that are more like holiday adjacent, if that makes sense. Like products that are based on like the holiday or like the holiday season, but are also cute enough that like you can leave them out year round and people won't look at you funny. The next goal is actually already in progress, which is to update my business branding. I'll make another video probably soon going into like my old branding versus my new one and why I decided to change things up. But basically I just felt like I make products that are very like cute and whimsical and funny and colorful, and I loved my old branding. I loved it so much, but I just felt like it didn't really fit the vibe of my shop, if that makes sense. I just thought I needed something that better fit the like colorfulness and like silliness of the products that I sell. I'll actually add a picture here of my current business cards. I literally love them so much. My sister actually made them for me. I will link her website below if you're interested in business cards or any sort of graphic stuff for your small business. I highly recommend. Okay, the next goal is to host a virtual craft night. I haven't really put much thought into this one yet. I just thought it would be like super fun to have a big group of like 20-somethings like myself all come together on like Zoom or something and just like chat and craft and like maybe talk about like our small businesses and our goals for the year. My next goal is to open more small business selling platforms. I think diversifying income as a small business owner is really, really important. And right now I'm only selling on Etsy. I think I'd love to eventually have like my own website. I think my issue right now is I just don't have a large enough audience on my own. There's definitely a lot of pros and cons to selling on Etsy. Maybe I'll make a video about that at another time. But a great thing about them is they sort of have their own like built-in audience. So I really don't have to do like as much of like the marketing side of things. So like they do take a higher cut, but they're also doing that marketing for me, and they have again like their built-in audience. So there's already people seeing my products without me having to do so much of like the heavy lifting. So hopefully I can grow my audience to the point where I can sell independently. That was a hint to subscribe. But I think I will stick with Etsy for now, and then maybe potentially also look into like TikTok shop. Okay, next, and one that I guess I can technically cross off the list now, is that I want to start making long form content this year. I've struggled with wanting to make long form content for probably a few years now, just because I feel like I see a lot of other small businesses with like their cute offices and their fancy cameras and their nice recording space, and I don't have any of that. I run everything from right here in my bedroom, and the lighting is bad and my desk is not aesthetic and cute. So I don't know, it just doesn't get me motivated to make videos because I don't live like this very aesthetic life, if that makes sense. But we're here, it is 2025 and we're giving it a shot, so we'll see how it goes. If it sucks, at least I can say I tried. Okay, my next goal is that I would love to build out some sort of inventory tracker. I think I mentioned this at the beginning, but right now how I run my business is everything is completely made to order. So basically I have all of my supplies, and then once an order is placed, that's when I actually start like making the product, which I think this worked well in like the beginning of my shop when I didn't have a ton of orders. But I do think that I'm finding, especially around the holidays, that it's really hard to A, keep up with orders when they're made to order, and B, trying to keep in mind like what do I actually have in stock for like my supplies that I use. So I think for this year, my plan is to shift a bit more towards like pre-made launches. So basically I'll make a whole bunch of items and then list them, and then I can get them to you guys quicker. And I think having an inventory tracker will be super helpful, like A, to know what I have made, what I need to make, but also to get a good pulse on like how much I've made and what's actually selling. So I know maybe I need to make more of my Sunny Angel card charms, but I need less of my Crap Rangoon plushies. I think this will also be a really good way to track like what needs more marketing and what is actually doing very well in my shop. Okay, my second to last goal for the year is to have my products in a local shop. This is another one I really haven't put that much thought into. I know there are like quite a few shops around me in like the local Boston area that do sell handmade goods. And yeah, again, haven't put much thought into this one. I just think it would be like super cute to like have my own little booth and like sell my products in like an actual store. And I feel like as someone who also has a 9-to-5, having products in a shop is sometimes a lot better than doing like craft fairs on the weekends and stuff like that, because I'm so limited on time I have to work on my orders and to like make bulk inventory that's needed for a craft fair. So I feel like having my products in a store where there's someone else watching the inventory, making sure payments go through and things like that would be super helpful. Okay, and last but not least, my final goal for the year is that I would like to hit at least 25K on TikTok. I don't think this one's totally out of reach. I think I have like 15K right now. I used to be like very consistent posting on TikTok, like at least once a day. And I think in the beginning, a lot of my sales did come from TikTok, but then my shop got so busy that I sort of like fell off with like the content making. But I think I'd like to revamp that for this year and hopefully build out my audience a bit more. And those are my goals for the year. If you stuck around to watch this whole thing, literally thank you so much. If you are watching and also have your own small business, I would love to hear what some of your goals are for the year. Feel free to comment them below. And if you're interested in seeing more, feel free to subscribe, and I'll also post my other socials below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!